What if I told you there was a car that could take 7 people and all their stuff, had the latest and greatest technology, had a relatively fuel efficient 3.5 liter engine that gets 21 mpg, had not one but 2 sunroofs, and had enough cup holders that you could fill an entire soccer team's worth of drinks and not run out of cup holders? I bet you would buy that car, because let's face it, at $2,000 for this car, you're about $4,000 over the average price of a car. And yet, somehow, there's a stigma when it comes to not cars but vans. And here I am with the brand new Kia Carnival. And in this video, I'm going to show you all that stuff, and I'm going to maybe have you question why you don't like vans. So let's start where we always start, and that is with the styling. Look at this. This is a very handsome vehicle. I mean, you've got this really modern, dare I say, vertical, square-jawed grille. You've got this really funky color. I should look on the Monroney to see what it's called, but I gotta tell you, I love it. It's kind of ocean blue. And the one thing that this has, I'll do it on this side, that most people hate, but that is just incredibly useful, is this, right? I mean, this is why people hate vans, because of the sliding doors, because that to many people says, especially if you've lived a life that's been footloose and fancy, that I've now been completely domesticated and that I'm stuck running the soccer mom run or soccer dad run with juice packets and very well peeled fruit. But as a vehicle that is the ultimate in utility, there is nothing better than a minivan, not even a pickup truck. I mean, it's relatively small for what is packed inside, and I think Kia with the Carnival has kind of taken the minivan and elevated it to a level that goes into almost a luxury car segment. So I'll show you all the beautiful interior in a second, but let's start with what's under the hood. All right, it's a 3.5 liter V6, kind of standard, puts out, I believe, just over 280 horsepower paired to an 8-speed transmission. And this is probably the one part of the car that I would say I'm least in love with. We'll take it for a ride and we'll see how it does, but you know, this feels a little bit dated. I mean, Stellantis has been, or I should say FCA, or you can go, does it go back further than that, has been building the Pentastar for decades now, so 6-cylinder V6s aren't exactly, you know, cutting edge. But what is cutting edge and what makes this car so unique is all of the stuff that you get. I mean, the great thing about Kia, let me close this again, Cole. Let me show you something. Let me close it. Look at the seat. I mean, that used to be reserved for high-end cars like Cadillacs, where the seat actually moves out of your way or into your way, depending on whether you're coming or going. And then look at this beautiful leather interior. I mean, look at the interesting design pattern, and you may be wondering, why are these perforated? And the reason for that is, look, you've got both heated and ventilated seats for both driver and passenger. But the luxury doesn't end there. We have a heated steering wheel, and of course, in proper sports car fashion, come on in, Cole. Actually, don't come in. Yeah, come on in. I'm gonna have to show you the back seats. But in proper sports car fashion, we have drive modes. So we have Eco, I get that, normal, sport, and smart. Not sure what smart is. Any idea, Cole? I just think it's probably some kind of a mixture where it decides what the best drive mode is. Now, leather wrapped steering wheel, adaptive cruise control, giant screen with Apple CarPlay, and in this case, Sirius XM. The only chink in this car's armor, as far as I can tell, is this. So Kia has decided that they want to have a multi-function display, which in theory is really cool, but in practice not so cool, because you really forget that sometimes you're in the HVAC controls and sometimes you're in the traditional controls. So what you have is dual function. So in this way, this works as your volume, and in this way, it works as your temperature control. And what ends up happening, of course, is that you go to adjust the volume and then you crank up the heat all the way to high, and the kiddos are wondering, why the hell is it so hot in here? So this is the only part of the car that I am not in love with, but everything else is very sweet. Not only do you have USB-C ports, 2 of them right there, you also have wireless charging. Of course, multitudes of cup holders. Up here, you've got, your lights, and then you've got your dual controls for the 2 sunroofs. I mean, look, you got not 1, but 2 sunroofs, so that the people in the back can feel like they're light and airy. The only thing I can see that this minivan is missing, because it also has a heads-up display, believe it or not. I'm not sure if that's needed, but, my wife got used to hers, and she really likes it. So it does tell you important things like how fast you're going, what the speed limit is, and that's, useful. The only thing it's missing really in the luxury terms is there's not a refrigerator in here. Otherwise, this bad boy has pretty much everything that you'd want, including a bird's eye view camera and, all of your different... Ooh, I'm always impressed when they make the car that's pictured in the camera the same color as of the car that you're driving. All right, I got the Monroney right here, and I need to tell you, I can't let this go. I need to tell you what this color is, because I need to know it myself. So the color is called Tuscan Umber? Oh, Astra Blue. The interior is Tuscan Umber off black. The exterior color is Aston Blue. And it's probably one of the colors that if you were to put this on a Rolls Royce, it would not look out of place. So let me show you one of this car's biggest party tricks, and that is not in the back, but we'll sit in the second row here. So super easy, like any minivan, to get in and out of, and you have 3 adult-size seats here. So if you are 6 foot tall like I am, no issues with headroom, no issues with legroom. And Cole, if you come over here, you've got your 3rd row of climate control there, so that the second row passengers feel like they can, control their own heat. And there's a little camera here, which lets you, I'm guessing at this, but I think it's true, see what the kiddos are up to. So if they're up to something naughty back here, like having squirt gun fights, you can tell them to knock it off. Now, the great thing about minivans is that they're ultimately configurable, and the Kia is no different. And so perhaps the best way to show you is to show you from the back here. So come on back here. And because this is a minivan, you not only have room for all of the passengers, but look at all the space back here. Once these seats aren't stowed, you also have room for, all the gear and all the toys and all of the road trip paraphernalia that you need to make this the ultimate road trip vehicle. Now, let me show you this kind of party trick, which I was talking about. So what you can do is you can put this down, which makes for a flat floor. But here's the cool bit. Check this out. Let me show you something here. Okay, pull this, I believe, and look at that. You now created basically 3 captain's chairs with tons of room. So, if you've got Snotty Jimmy who has some bad manners, you can also put him back here and kind of close him off. Or you can recline this. Oh, that pops it out. All right, which one of these reclines it? I think that one pushes it. But, oh, thanks, Cole. So you can recline this, and you can get 2 additional cup holders to match the 1, 2, 3, 4 that are right there, to match the other ones that are in the doors. So, yeah. I get the fact that a lot of people think that driving a minivan kind of means you've given up on life. That's kind of the glass half empty look, but the glass half full look is you're driving the most useful, utilitarian vehicle around. Let's take it for a ride, Cole. Of course, there aren't that many minivans on the market today. Everybody's going for the big 3-row SUVs because they're masculine versus being wimpy. But as the Diary of the Wimpy Kid proved, being wimpy is not such a bad thing. So this obviously competes with the original minivan, which was once upon a time called the Chrysler Town & Country, but has now turned into the Pacifica, and that is available in a plug-in hybrid. And I know that Tommy is going on a program with this car because they are adding that feature to the Carnival as well. So stay tuned for alltfl.com. Soon we'll have a full review of the new plug-in hybrid Carnival because even though 21 isn't horrible, it could be better. Specifically, the Pacifica gets better fuel economy because it is the plug-in hybrid, or one of the first plug-in hybrid vans. And then of course there's the Sienna from Toyota, and dare I forget, the Odyssey from Honda. So how does this compete with them? I kind of feel like this is the one where you get the most luxury, you get the most goodies, you get the most stuff for the least amount of money. Do you get the most performance? Well, let's find out. I shall put it in, where are my modes? There are my modes. I shall put it, no, it's an eco, I'll put it in sport mode. Not that this is something that is probably a buying decision for most of you, but let's see how it does going around these corners. You know, the great thing about this from a driving perspective is you really just see the road in front of you. There's so many vehicles now that look cool because they have long hoods, but aren't great to drive because you can't really see the road. In this, I see exactly what's in front of me, which is super nice. And I'm going to go around this corner and then we'll give it a little bit of the beans to see just how quick it is. I'm guessing not so quick. The plug-in hybrid will probably be quicker because it is electrified. Let's see here. So that's floored. A little bit of front wheel chirp. You know, it's not bad, but then I'm here in Portland with the AVA's, the Automotive Video Awards, reviewing a whole bunch of these cars, and I tend to forget what a difference it is to be at sea level versus at a mile above sea level where we're at in Colorado. So I tend to be a little bit harsher on cars in the power world, because obviously the higher you go, the less horsepower you have, especially in normally aspirated cars. Engine sound is a little harsh, steering is nice, you know, it's a little firm. I wonder if it loosens up if I put it into normal. Yeah, I think the steering does get a little bit lighter. Hard to say. Yeah, definitely a little bit harder. And then in eco mode, when you floor it, the car is going to give you everything it has, so it really doesn't change that much. It doesn't change the throttle mapping all that dramatically. It's just when you kind of slowly floor it that you can feel the difference. Overall, I would say it's a pleasant vehicle to drive. I can see myself cross-country tripping this and being quite happy with the amount of room and the amount of fuel economy. Even though I guess 21 at $5 a gallon, if you're in California, does start to become a little painful. But then if you're filling it out with 8 people, you know, it's certainly going to do a lot better than a Dodge Durango Hellcat, which I just reviewed, which actually holds less people, but has a lot more horsepower. All right, so here's kind of my best judgment when it comes to minivans. If you want the minivan that's going to give you the most bang for your buck in terms of stuff, in terms of, I think, design, go for the Kia. Obviously, if you want a plug-in hybrid, stow and go, then go for the Pacifica. It's getting a little old in the tooth now, so it probably needs a refresh. If you love Japanese design and you love Japanese durability, obviously the Sienna is the one to go for, especially if you want all-wheel drive and if you live in places like I do in Colorado. And the Odyssey, it kind of cuts the difference between this and the others. It's kind of the one that's the most vanilla, but in some ways the most thoughtfully designed. So there you have it. As always, this is Roman saying thanks for watching, and come back for more AVA Award reviews soon, because I've got 8 more cars to review. See you next time. Ciao.